So, anyways, I'm doing a handstand to signify my dominance over the algorithm. And yes, I will gratefully answer your question. And I'm going to do that by taking you on a hike I went at 4:30 this morning. So I hope you enjoy it. So you're a person that wants to know about free will versus determinism. And you're putting forward the notion that if free will exists, then the entity, I guess we can refer to as God, cannot be omnipotent. And if this being is omnipotent, then we cannot have free will. And to me, this just seems like a very black and white mentality. Like yes or no, A or B, 1 or 2. Generally, there's a lot of letters in the alphabet. And there's even more numbers. And since we're talking about an omnipotent level multidimensional being, I don't think a yes or a no, or the type of answer you're seeking even exists. And anyone that told you an answer like that, I would consider them stupid. Not to mention really, really irresponsible, since this has to do with soul level type stuff. Anyways, I guess I'm gonna get to dropping some breadcrumbs for you. So again, free will. If free will exists, then determinism cannot exist. And if determinism is real, then free will cannot exist. But again, that's limiting. So let's expand this out. Now remember, we're talking about a multi-dimensional, higher, omnipotent being that exists outside of our reality, or within it, or in all of it. So again, very complicated. And if we take this down the math rabbit hole with quantum mechanics, quantum computing, back in coding days, it used to be 1s or 2s, or 1s and 0s, my bad. But with quantum computing, it is 1s and 0s at the same time, but they're both separate, which is really fucking cool. But a lot of people, their eyes glaze over when I start talking about this technological stuff, so I won't bore you with that. But if we take that rationality and use it with this, free will could exist at the same time that determinism exists, and they're both playing with each other, just phasing, and going off of that logic, you could potentially say that a small minority of people actually have free will, and it is something that can be achieved through a lot of fucking work. And I mean, basically all the stories, fighting demons, fighting one's own demons, for example, journeying out, is about basically discovering yourself, going through those trials and tribulations, and truly becoming you, thus breaking you free from the threads of fate. And that's just one example in a sea of them. For real. Let's use a crazier example. So free will and determinism. So let's go off the assumption that there are higher level entities than us. Now, rather than speaking about the creator specifically, let's keep it really, really simple. And say you have a basic run-of-the-mill fifth dimensional entity looking at a third dimensional entity, right? And we have to take this into consideration, because a third dimensional creature is not going to see things in the same way as a fifth dimensional creature, just like a fifth dimensional creature is not going to see things the same way as a sixth, or up, blah, 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 as you go up the totem world. Ooh, scary, scary stuff. But let's continue with that train of thought. So you have a higher dimensional creature looking right at you. What do they see from their perspective? And again, this is all hypothesis. But what if they see time itself? You really have to take this in consideration. What if they see your past, present, and future all happening at the same time? Because again, this is from a different dimensional viewpoint. Just like we see things differently than 2D creation, in a fucking book. I mean, this goes up to the concept of, would time operate the same for a higher dimensional entity? I don't think it would, but it might. But I mean, they might see the way we go through time completely differently. You have to take these into consideration, because I feel like a lot of people only look at a very human viewpoint. But again, we don't even really know shit about our own universe. Shoot, we may have only explored 0.0001% of it, if that. So, I mean, then you start going into the depths of dimensions and multiverses and possibilities like that. And I mean, man, everything that we currently know kind of goes out the window, and infinity is really the only answer. And again, when you look at it from the perspective of a higher level entity, time could just be perspective to it, you know? Like, it could be existing in all that. And I mean, they say the creator, like, exists. Okay. I lost my train of thought. But, like, if you look at from the creator's viewpoint, if you look at the highest boy on the top of the totem pole, right? Would time even exist? Or would it exist in a state of awareness that's in the past, present, and future all at the same time, seeing every fucking thing? Like, I mean, shit, man. It's a lot to think about. And I mean, if I'm being real, I feel like I'm one of the only ones that thinks about this stuff. I find it interesting, you know? I mean, shit. And I mean, I don't like telling people what to think. Because, like, my journey's my own, you know? Up the mountain of life, I'm going my own path. But at the same time, I would strongly recommend trying to stay away from, like, when you're thinking about complicated circumstances and complicated situations, and well, that's the same fucking thing, just different words. But like, when you're looking at complicated things, trying to come up with like just a black and white answer, man, pie in your face, you know? And I've had a lot of pie in my face. But anyways, I feel like this is it, so have a good day. I helped you a little bit. Now dump them all out.
Yeah.
Grab it. It's pee. Old man's pee after he drinks like 25 beer.